All right, welcome back to some TNT Championship Season 1 2024. We are going to kick things off here with Jason versus the Devil. Let's get into it. Game number 1. Okay, spawning on the right-hand side, Jason Blade as Bellified, and as a KSR in the left, the Devil himself. Okay, so Jason Blade, again, caster. Mostly does YouTube stuff, so if you watch this and you're hungry for some more content, check out their channel as well. Jason's deck looks pretty solid. You know, good mix of tier 1, tier 2. Got the boar and the turret. Again, the boar did get nerfed, but keep in mind the boar bomb got nerfed. The boar itself is still going to be as effective with that flamethrower as it ever has been. Meanwhile, in the green, the devil himself. Deck is a little bit wonky here, but love to see it. We call this the Pile style, a little bit of an old school reference. There used to be a player named Pile, and they would run basically Lizard and all the defense, and would somehow just run circles around people. It was incredible gameplay to see. So I would consider the Devil himself using a little bit of a Pile style deck. And let's see if they can make it work. You know, I think if the game is just nice and easy and we're going to macro up and nothing's going to be weird, Jason Blade's deck has an advantage, but I feel like the skill ceiling on the Devil himself's deck is very high, and if they could do some kind of crazy stuff with their build, you never know. You know, they could take it out here. And having the Skunk Lizard to start and then plus a Badger later, like, that's not the worst comp, but they are very hamstringed by the fact that they're running 3 defense, right? So will those defensive structures warrant their positions in the Devil himself's loadout is the question here. So mill taken here for the Devil. Meanwhile, Jason just building up more and more squirrels. Going to clear out this cabin. And let's see, the Devil himself trying to set up with some turrets here on the high ground. Now, turrets can be a catch-22. They're an amazing unit in the battle, but if these turrets kind of sit around and do nothing, then that's rough. Or if Jason decides to go around them. But if Jason attacks right into these turrets, I don't think this is going to work out. Oh my god, the commander goes down. I don't think the Devil can really take advantage of this, though. Tries to anyways with the lizards, but the problem is there were simply just more squirrels there, and the lizards kind of having that lower, not quite melee, but almost melee range, means they really had to get in close, and Jason actually takes a better trade there with his dead commander. I think the Devil on paper kind of did the right thing, but they just didn't have the enough units. Now, this is getting a little bit scary for the Devil, as Jason is kind of posturing to attack in. But again, these turrets should really help out. The Chameleon, though, gets on top of one immediately. However, the Chameleon is so good against the Lizards, it is able to push through. And the Devil himself, being maybe a little bit too greedy with the second base here, just simply does not have enough boots on the ground. Although if the green player can hold on, they're going to be in a phenomenal spot with a better eco, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Jason coming in, going to target down this Gristmill. And with the Chameleons on the front line, the Chameleons are just so strong against the Lizards. And the Devil himself is really going to have a problem dealing with this Squirrel Cam composition. So Jason Blade already in a great spot here. Took some really good engagements. Has been behind on economy. Now, the Devil did get some money out of that mill before it went down. However, that attack right there was a little bit ill-advised. I think the Devil might have been able to come back in this game if they kind of, you know, sat back, got up to their 4 skunks. 4 skunks is really powerful. It's a ton of HP to have to chew through. And yeah, that match is going to end pretty quickly with Squirrel Toad, Squirrel Chameleon taking it for Jason off 1 base. And, oh my gosh, where is my score? Is this it? This must be it. Okay, perfect. A little rusty here. You know, bear with me. It's been a while since we've done this whole rodeo. Game number 2. Let's get into it. Alright, in the bottom, Jason Blade. Running the same deck, it looks like. And up top, the Devil himself. Gonna bring things back to reality a little bit with the deck composition. Double tier 3, though, so still being a little bit spicy. And if Wolf Badger could get out together, that would be a very powerful comp. However, with Snakes being most likely going to be very popular this patch in this championship season, tier 3 is a little bit spooky. The Snakes are great at targeting those down, but Jason does not have the Snakes in the composition, so, you know, if the Devil can bring this game to a late game, I think they're going to have the better army composition. Now, Jason does have Falcons, which are, like, the best unit in the game. I don't know if that's a controversial statement. Is that a controversial statement? Do people disagree with me? Yell at me in chat if so. But, like, Falcon's just, like, the best unit, right? It's gotta be. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what the people think. So, anyways, I guess the point I was getting at there is that if Jason does just amass a ton of Falcons, they might be able to overwrite the Devil with their tier 3 regardless. Yeah, Falcons just, I mean, nowadays people are even figuring out how to, like, use them in the early game pretty effectively, but they're just the best scaling unit is the thing. And generally speaking, like, an army at the late game that has Falcons versus one that doesn't, the one that doesn't really needs to be bringing it somewhere else. Because, man, when you get to, like, 10, 12 Falcons in the sky, I mean, that is just, like, so much burst. Anyways, here, both players just railing down a bunch of Squirrel Warrens at the moment. Good scouting from both sides. Both sides a little bit hesitant to get into a second base. Map is kind of fine, I guess. It's a little bit small, but both sides do have access to plenty of gristmills. I think if this becomes a 3-base game, it's going to get weird. But the Devil himself going to take this forward base. I actually agree with this 100%. I like this play a lot from the Devil. The problem a bit... Ooh, Badger coming out, though. This is really, really spooky. If Jason, you know, sniffs weakness in the air, you know, hey, you don't look like you have that much tier 1 or something, or just happens to do a shoulder check attack like this, and you're trying to get a tier 3, I mean, that can be brutal. The Devil himself loses the mill, can kind of deal with that. Now, if the Badger does get out, there are no Snakes from Jason. And the problem is the Devil is really trying to be sneaky right now. I think the Devil just needs to chill. Just stay on one base. Here, this is where Jason's going to see the Badger, though. Oh my god, does not see it. Oh, dude. I'm such a tier 3 Andy. Like, I really want this to work. I can never make tier 3 work in my games, as much as I try. Like, I always just seem to die. Like, my opponent just magically attacks me, like, 5 seconds before my tier 3 is out. Every single time. It's such a tragedy. But let's see. The Devil himself is pulling it off. Now, Jason is getting ahead on economy. But, so the Devil really needs to, like, bust in there with this attack. And needs to destroy this base. Like, the Devil will be in a good spot in this game if they manage to destroy this base and trade 1-for-1. They will be in an incredible spot this game if they can destroy this base, trade pretty evenly, and keep the Badger alive. Jason still doesn't know about the Badger, but has to know something is up. Because there's no expansion, there's not a bunch of tier 2 Warrens. Oh, and Jason throwing down a boar. This is absolutely devastating for Jason, actually, because this boar, that's 180 bucks that are going to do nothing. Okay, here's the big moment. The Badger should be marching up to the front lines. And Jason is miles ahead right now because of the economy. Alright, the Devil himself coming in with the Badger. Jason trying to push up on the Badger. Now, this could be incorrect sometimes. It's a lot of times better to just deal with all the supporting units and then deal with the Badger after. The Skunk's able to clean up all those squirrels, and Jason just simply caught with his pants down against this Badger a little bit. Had no idea the Badger was coming. The Devil himself won that fight single-handedly, easily gets the mill, and is gonna go home. Could probably even just push for the win here. Yeah, I would say just try to push for the win. He won that fight so hard. that you just keep the pressure on. And this comes, honestly, the name of this game was just scouting. Like, Jason just did not realize the Badger was coming, and that's all there is to it. If Jason knew the Badger was coming, they could have gotten onto some Falcons. You know, Falcons can be a good way to deal with a Badger. You know, you get 4 or 6 of them together, you might be able to burst it down. So, good job from Jason there, getting away with that Tier 3 rush. I think that they played out, you know, kind of losing the... you know, losing that mill and not, like, really overcommitting to trying to build that second base again. That was really smart. And unfortunately for Jason, just did not find that Badger Warren. Heavy Metal Finland in chat. Oh, man. Classic Metal. What is up? I love to see old names like that. All right. It's so cool. It makes me happy about this community, man. Like, just viewers on Twitch or people in tournaments, like... It's literally some of the same people from like 6-7 years ago. It's really crazy. All right, group match number 3. Let's get into it. It's wild thinking about I've been casting this game for almost 7 years now. It's crazy. Over on the right hand side, Jason Blade, and over on the left, the Devil himself. Both players changing it up this time around. Jason is gonna get that snake after losing to the Badger there, and. Meanwhile, the Devil himself, love this style. Ferret, fox, owl, barbed wire. Let's see if the Devil can get the ferret or the fox out. Still got squirrel cam to be kind of a force to be reckoned with in the early game. Jason does have the toads though, and I'm really curious how much of an impact the toads are going to have on the metagame. It really depends on how people choose to play. Because if people just kind of choose to go pretty heavy into Tier 2, you know, expanding fast, getting up to 16 farms, then toads probably won't matter that much. But if we do expand fast, but we build, you know, a ton of squirrels, or those sorts of comps, like really heavy Tier 1 comps, I think toads are going to make a big impact this patch. Just because you got to respect it. Like, here, the Devil's got chameleons, which can body block for the toads as needed. Jason Blade, though, I don't know, maybe I zoned out and missed something in this early game. Already building up a lot of barbed wire. I mean, barbed wire is dirt cheap. It's like 5 food nowadays. But seems pretty early for it. Kind of a weird map. Yeah, I'm not sure. This always feels really awkward when you're Jason with, like, the edges and stuff. I guess setting up to take this pocket base, a little bit nicer for the Devil. It always feels bad to have this double ledge right here, but the fact that it's got so many doodads up there means that, you know, Jason's not going to be able to utilize this ledge. Actually, high ground is like really big in this game, especially if you spawn. Like, if you spawned like right there, this is a tragedy. Like, you cannot have your main base on the low ground like that. Yeah, and to Scav's point in the chat, I mean, barbed wire, you know, if the opponent does not have cams or moles, those are the only units that can actually attack the barbed wire. The only other units in the game that can deal with it, they just have to deal with it through losing HP. So, like, Skunk Pigeon can kind of do it. It takes forever. But yeah, I mean, if you do take barbed wire and your opponent does not, you know, moles probably aren't going to be the most played unit on the patch. I think moles will still be viable because they can still kind of be your front linemen against toads. You know, you can still, they're still going to help you in those like timings where it's like, oh, my opponent's being too greedy. I'm going to throw, you know, slam down 2 mole warrens and pull the trigger. I think moles are still going to be good there. That kind of stuff. So I don't think we're not going to see moles, but mole stonk is definitely down. Mole stonk is down, toad stonk is up. But people seem to be using chameleons this patch as well, which is interesting because I think snakes are good against cams, but cams are so good against toads, man. Like, if you can get the cams to soak the toad shots, that's absolutely huge. If I remember correctly, I made my Discord account specifically for Pocketwatch, said Josh on FPS. Yeah, I did too. I signed up for Discord, and it started doing Tooth and Tail stuff. Which is wild because now I'm in like so many Discord servers, and it's like such a big part of my social life. Yeah, Tooth and Tail is what started Discord for me. Look at this attack from the devil himself. Says, I don't care about your barbed wire at all. Slams in here and just takes out the main and just goes home. What the hell was that? Signed by Mousepad, dude. Good lord. Are you kidding me? Oh, Jason Blade's gotta be furious right now. Like, the game's over. I mean, granted, Jason does have a second base that is pretty healthy. You know, he's got a lot of farms on there. Oh, bleeds off a lot of toads against the structure. A little bit of miscontrol there. But Jason's just got to get so much damage done. Oh my gosh, no, the devil is going for a count. Oh my god, the devil. I'm so worried for the devil, you guys. He's got some other mills going up. Jason needs to target the mill. The devil just going for a base trade. I think the devil could have just, like, taken that engagement. But they didn't realize that. Oh my god, the mills get up just in time! And the devil steals a win from Jason there. Well, not necessarily, I guess. Like, that can't... Well, I don't know. That's a pretty sneaky win, anyway you slice it, right? Like, I can't believe he just walked into Jason's base and just, like, targeted his mill and left. Like, off. And I was commenting earlier on how that was a rough map for Jason. And that's why his units were out of position, because he thought the attack was going to come from the other way, but the attack just kind of happened so quick. And the fact that you got to use your commander, like, as scouting pretty much, I mean, that can happen in this game, man. If you're out of position with your commander and an attack comes in, like, it can just blow over you pretty quickly. All right, moving into game number 4 here. Let's see if Jason can tie things up. And head to a match number 5. In the bottom left, we've got Jason Blade. And in the right-hand side, the devil himself with a more reasonable-looking deck. Ferrets aren't super popular right now, but then you've got like these grandmasters like Mishi or somebody who makes ferrets look broken, you know. So ferret's definitely one of those like high skill ceiling, low skill floor kind of units. They're also very map dependent too. Like, sometimes you just get lucky and you have a good map for them, sometimes you don't. But you know what? I heard something the other day in like competitive Magic Zeitgeist, and it's like you can't get lucky if you don't set yourself up for the opportunity. I totally butchered that, but I guess what I'm getting at is like you're not going to get a good ferret map and be able to use ferrets if you don't take ferrets. You know what I mean? So, at worst, like, oh, the map's bad for ferrets, you don't use them. But at best, hey, you got them, you got a good map spawn, let's go. But you can't get lucky like that if you don't buy the ticket, if you don't include the ferret. So, anyways, 8 farm opening both sides. The devil going for a quick mill. Jason Blade with an 8 farm double. This is kind of an awkward area for Jason to attack into. What's interesting about this map is there's a ton of road everywhere, so everybody's going to be moving a little bit faster than you expect. This cliff is like a double-edged sword for the devil. On one hand, it's going to be really awkward for Jason to attack with the units on the ground, but on the other hand, Jason can just fly up some falcons right here and do what we call cliff abuse, and if he does it right, basically just win the game. Like, cliffs can be super oppressive if the situation's correct. So let's see if Jason will go for that cliff abuse or not. Jason really only has access to a second base, but that's kind of fine. I mean, most games of Tooth and Tail are decided in 1 or 2 bases. Jason just needs to be cognizant of the fact that probably doesn't want this to go into a tier 3 game or a 3 base game because it doesn't really have a good third base. Neither does the devil himself, if I'm being honest. Like, neither of these bases are very good to actually like farm off of. So, Jason with a lot of tier 2. The devil gonna use these moles to take out a campfire. Cabin, I should say. Expose a campfire. Now, these kinds of plays are always great when you're on 1 base without an expansion. Now, Jason did not expand. Something that's really important to point out, because Jason did not expand and has not pressured the devil's expansion either. So Jason needs to kind of make a move once these tier 2 come out, or try to just rail, you know, 6 farms on the expansion. He's got to either punish the opponent's economy or catch up on economy. Ideally, a little bit of both. Devil himself, really smart build here. Just going for a lot of Falcons. Very aware of this cliff. Does not want the opponent to be able to abuse that cliff. And getting up to 6 Falcons, like, that is a lot of Falcons. I'm not 100% clear on, like, the balance of Squirrel versus Falcon. You know, does, like, 6 Squirrels and 4 Falcons lose to, I don't know, 15 Squirrels and 2 Falcons? Like, I don't know. You know, if you take the same amount of money in Squirrels and Falcons and lean one way, lean one the other, I think it comes down to positioning a lot. You know, Tooth and Tail is really all about positioning. You know, if the Squirrels, like, attacking Squirrels are so much worse than defending Squirrels. Just because the fact that you have to find a tile to be able to shoot. And, like, concave, convex situations, Falcons have an easier time finding those tiles as well. But man, 12 Falcons out of the Devil. And Jason going for a boar. The boar is the last thing Jason needs right now. Jason needs to see all these Falcons and sell that boar. Come on, you see only a few Squirrels. Oh, the Devil just playing so well this game. Fully saturated on that second base. It feels like Jason did a strong, like, tech opening, but never really leveraged that for damage. Is going to commit to the boar. Oh man, I'm worried for Jason. I'm biased for Jason this game, you guys. I want to see Jason win so we get a match number 5. But oh man, 10 Falcons in the air, 6 more on the way, plenty of money to buy everything. And he's gonna attack, of course, right before the boar comes out. Everybody just knows, like, okay, he has seen it, to be fair. Look at this though! Jason Blade fighting back. See, this is what I'm saying. Maybe too many Falcons, not enough Squirrels. Like, tier 1 is generally pretty good against Falcons. Like, lizards and stuff. So yeah, just the Devil just without enough Squirrels. Gonna try to build some panic moles. Not so sure about this boar. If the boar can roast... Alright, Jason, abuse the cliff. Jason! Jason! He can abuse the cliff and he can get the torch going on. Oh, that boar's gonna die so fast. All these Falcons, watch this. See you later, alligator. It does soak a lot of damage though. Still alive, yeah. The Devil probably not caring about the board. Yeah, this time around, the Devil absolutely scoops it up with all those Falcons. I think if Jason would have came down here, he probably could have torched down the mill. Keep in mind too that the income has just been way ahead for the Devil. So, you know, I like that build Jason was going for. Obviously, the boar, not so great into 1,000,000 Falcons, but the Devil was able to kind of take that first fight to the chin, you know, and just had, like, the economy to really back it up and be able to punt out that counterattack. So, all right, the Devil gonna win 3-1 versus Jason.